This is another broadcast at 17 Soapbox. And it's tuned in. Today I'm over here at a Bojangles over here in Norfolk, Virginia. Getting fed. You got salute that, you know what I'm saying? I just tried under both sauces to eat this stuff right here. Not the best way system, but definitely tastes phenomenal. So, over the past couple of days, I've been seeing the whole Anton Daniels versus Corey Holcomb. A little viral moment that I had on the 50 Charlie. I'm waiting on it. Yesterday I called him to Star Report. It's kind of fun to the Star is one of the main reasons why he decided to try Full Daniels. Because he's always spoken highly of their biscuits. So, salute the Star, always letting me on the show. And this, despite the fact he knows about my economic situation, he shows a lot of respect and that's on the lines. So, I'm pretty much an ecosystem that I had yesterday on the show, which is the fact that I don't agree with the tomfoolery that was on display on that show, the 50 show. But this is the speed that, the 50 show operates at, which is why when in 2020 I first started getting into listening to a bunch of podcasts and stuff like that, when I was in South Dakota, and I would be doing my 4 hours a day and behind the scenes workouts. These are the behind the scenes workouts in my apartment at the time, and it would be, I was exploring podcasts, different types of podcasts, but mostly all directed towards the spectrum of the black man here, if you will. That's a solution. So, ADL, I listened to him for a couple of years actually. Now I have started disagreements with him on this show. Angry Man, I listened to him for years. I stopped listening to him last year and stopped going into the show as a matter of fact as well too. And of course CDS. Now CDS listens to, that California love from Cali, and it's still respecting, his message more so resonates with me, and with his message I'm most out of it, from the way that he does things with the freedom I saw mantra, yes. Through his message it has encouraged me, to make sure that I had tattoos on my passport before I turned 30, to make sure that I, went and pursue more than what I'm already doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, his message, especially his work ethics, he tends to stream every single day, at least 6 days throughout the week. It's a lot more people. I just respect his broadcast a lot more than others. Which is why going on now 5 years listening to podcasts religiously, I think CDA is top tier, and I'll probably I'm definitely listening to him later on today, which is kind of funny because that's what I found out about the whole Corey and Tommy. Now, the thing about Corey's show is that he's a comedian. I don't necessarily want to get advisement or, I don't necessarily want to get advice from comedian. Like, if someone's going to make life so I'm not over my really into that, you know what I'm saying? And he's not telling jokes on his program, which has been a big detraction that people have been saying when it comes down to this recent situation between him and Anton. With when Anton came back into insult, Corey should have had the wherewithal to combat him with a joke instead of going at each other's throats and escalating the situation further. I understand that sentiment, and I agree with that sentiment. Which is one of the main reasons why I never, got past an episode or 2 episodes of the show back when I was exploring, these various Negroid podcasters on YouTube and trying to figure out which niche of who's actually on the way being out here. It's not really funny the stuff he does. And on top of that, he likes to pander to the Negroid community. I don't respect somebody that just goes and panders to a special community so that way they get likes, views, you know what I'm saying, and doesn't call things straight down the middle, regardless of the special community. For example, I was watching this film Primate, and I can't agree with the film. My problem with that film is that it primarily features an ADA character who's deaf, and his whole reason for being in the film is that he's deaf. He's a stepfather. It's like checking off. It's like the company that's like making this production of this film. It's like it has a character in it to check off boxes instead of actually creating a legitimate character. I've seen a horror film franchise before known as Don't Breathe, where it had an ADA character who was not just there because he was deaf. That was my whole reason for being in the film. When you put a character into the film and you only focus on the fact that they're just part of a specialized group and don't add any more depth into the character or have any more backstory, it makes it very hard to empathize with the character or to even care about the character. This plays what Corey Holcomb does, as well as Anton Daniels, because the thing about Anton is that he plays for the opposing side. So if Holcomb isn't paid for the Negroid political pundits, then Anton plays for the Cosmoid political pundits. And it's this consistent tug of war. Honestly, I don't even know why Corey invited Anton to the show, other than for the fact that I believe this is a psyop used to bring about eyes to the dysfunction to you see men. And it just happened to me, and it's kind of funny because I was at one of my many places of employment yesterday. I was speaking to my manager, we were talking about Manson and Rob Zombie, or I was going on tour this year. I'm looking forward to it. This is my 3rd time seeing Manson, my 1st time seeing Zombie. Now, Zombie is in his 60s. Manson is pushing 60. The last time they toured, they were in their late 50s, mid-50s, and early 50s, right? They had constant riffing with each other during the tour. There was 2 political tours, and there was constant riffing because of the fact that Manson, during the time of his extensive cocaine use, would like to throw stuff at his band members, microphone stands, bottles, and it just be basically a prima donna. So there was a time during one of the stops on some Liverpool tour, I don't know if it was the first or second one, where Manson cut his show short and challenged Rob Zombie to a fight backstage. Now, when I'm learning about this on the boards, I was like, okay, like, people were making jokes and comments like, oh, what's Manson going to do? Is he going to scratch him with his nails? Like, these are 2 middle-aged men pushing seniority, challenging each other to schoolyard fights when they should be on stage making money, and arguing about bandmates because, early in the 2005, Infamous Guitars, he left Marilyn Manson's band at the height of, their success to go to instead play for Rob Zombie's band. And it's so bad blood because of this. So I'm already thinking about that right now before I decide to buy a ticket because of the Zombie cell. And I'm like, okay, like, these guys are basically frenemies. I don't like using that term because it sounds very feminine. Frenemies, like, that's very feminine. But it's the truth. They have that's a tumultuous relationship. When you really focus about getting money, this is the same way that people Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels. But the funny part about it is that when it comes down to Holcomb and Daniels because they're both Negroids, all of a sudden you get all these videos online specifically saying this is a black community issue. We're black and can't know and religious, have these conversations that I don't know the differences. Well, Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie, last contract, they're not Negroids, and they have similar issues, and both have threatened each other live on mic and in front of a bunch of people, and nothing ever came of it. Nothing ever came of it, which I gotta say, is a cowardly thing. Which is exactly what I bring about with this Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels situation. Apparently, Anton came to Corey's show with a bunch of security. On top of that, this is a live broadcast, so there's cameras everywhere. This is a big production. You know what I'm saying? This is like when I was in Jacksonville, and back when I was recording Earth 33, and I got snubbed by some people because I was trespassing in the parking lot while I was recording my program. That's not a big production. You see what I'm saying? This, when it comes to Holcomb and Anton, they're both millionaires. Now, there's no way they're about to jeopardize their careers over a couple of lewd insults hurled at each other. See, I watch a lot of pro wrestling. I have the Spears to the Streets entertainment column that I developed back when I was, working with comic crusaders over in New York. I interview wrestlers. I know what shit is. I know what promo is. To me, this whole thing between Daniels and Holcomb was just a promo to draw some views. This is literally it. But my big issue with it is that they both utilize the whole, they basically threw their own ethnic community under the bus because it just garnered some views, which I find like completely disgusting and despicable. Which is why, I wouldn't look to the Daniels program or look to a Holcomb program. I just never tuned into this stuff. I also have a problem with Daniels as well too because my fatherland is Detroit, and Daniels is one of those cats like Kid Rock who claims to be from Detroit, but is really from outside Detroit. Kid Rock being from Romeo, Michigan. I believe Daniels is from Pontiac or Cormac, one of those. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, like you're insulting my fatherland. Like, I don't respect that, and he uses it for clout. So all throughout this, tough guy back and forth, he keeps saying, "Oh, I'm from Detroit. Oh, you don't know what I'm capable of," that type of stuff, right? And he's using my fatherland as a shield to hide behind. I don't respect that. That's how he uses his security guards to hide behind. I don't respect that at all. Now, Detroit's my fatherland. My homeland is Los Angeles. So Corey Holcomb invoking Los Angeles. He's from Chicago. He's one of those Chicago transplants. Basically, a lot of gang activity both from Los Angeles and Chicago into mingle because Los Angeles really blew up illicit gangland activity all throughout the nation, whereas Chicago was the ones who essentially started the whole organized crime industry in states. Specifically, and not even the Negro, specifically the Italians. Yeah, I'm happy to say it's like both of these guys are basically insulting and hiding behind lands that are a part of my personal DNA, my personal history. I just don't respect that at all. And again, as I was on SARS program, as I'm calling them, these are these middle-aged men, pushing seniority. I don't respect that at all. You know what I mean? And also tax bracket for them to perform like that, it's not respectable. And then both of them using their own ethnic group as something thrown under the bus. I don't respect that. Because again, it's like, okay, Rob's not getting romanced, they're around the same age too, pushing 60, or in their early 60s. And when they have a little people are saying they're not throwing their whole ethnic group under the bus anymore, pointing at them and saying, "Oh, this is how grown white men perform, and they should perform like this, go at each other, these times they can't sit down and have a decent debate or iron out the differences without resulting threats." That's not being said. That's being said about the Negro community because I don't think they should represent my ethnic group. I really don't. Another thing that pisses me off as well too is that when Corey mentioned you have a boss, a lot of people like to forget that Anton Daniels has positioned himself over the past couple of years by using black manosphere to catapult into becoming political pundit on Fox News. I remember one time I was at a hotel and I just through the channels and I saw Anton's face on Fox and friends. I was like, this dude, I don't do from mine. He talking about like black man. Like, well, why is he not my yeah, Asian? Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Asian. I guess. I don't like it at all. And on top of that, like, I think, like, okay, like, Cat Williams, he's a comedian. Was he the one who, like, blew the whole, he basically dropped little tidbits on Shannon Sharp. Like, don't even get me started asking how Shannon Sharp ever became, is now, like, a respected voice in anything. Newscasting, I don't understand. He's not a respected voice. He shouldn't be. What is he? Like, all that CTE. Like, I don't get it, but over the years, people come to respect him. And one of the main things that made it to where he was respected was Cat Williams coming on the show. That's the comedian aspect. Cat Williams came on the show and he was like, "Oh, the dating parties, things of that nature." Stuff that people have been talking about for years. But a comedian all of a sudden, a B-list comedian, like, what was Cat Williams' biggest film when he played on a Friday Night? That was it. I don't know, like, was he in Straight Movie 3 something? When Wayne Netflix? What was it like? And he blows up the whole thing. And all of a sudden, a couple years later, Shannon starts looking at big $10 billion deals or whatever, fumbling the bag over sexual proclivities. It's funny how it works. And it's always comedians. Corey Holcomb, it's like, I kind of watch comedians and say, you know what I mean? A lot of these comedians, they push agendas. They push agendas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when Dave Chappelle was coming back. He came back a little weird. You know what I'm saying? And over back in LA, he had 4 me and my homie members back when I was just started. I was just started high school, just like 13. Man, this was on front of Wilson. He was on that Wilson and all that. And apparently he would tell no jokes. He just sit on school, smoke a bunch of cigarettes, and talk about politics. This is Dave Chappelle show. I grew up off that. You know what I'm saying? Fox 11 boom, sneak that joint at night. You know what I'm saying? Now he's doing a little what happened? You see when he's like comedians like Rich Pryor. People want to talk about what's his name? Corey Hansen arguing about Felicia. Well, Rich Pryor had been known to engage those activities. He's been respected in all these things. He was too, but you see when he like Richard Pryor. There's like a little funny thing in before he passed. He had a little concert, I believe. Maybe he was a comedian that said comedians shouldn't weigh in on politics. That was Rich Pryor. But here you got Corey Holcomb, and he's over here, left and right, week in, week out, giving his political opinions. And I don't believe that his microphone should be used for that, especially if he can't combat insult with a joke and say he just goes straight to threats of fisticuffs, but not throw one hand. Not throw one hand. I fully believe this is a psyop. I think it's a negative representation of this specific part targeting my ethnic group. When once again, I could literally pull up Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie. I pull their seats up and be like, they were around the same age doing the same thing, but nobody ever put accusations on their ethnic group and make the same superfluous claims that their ethnic group can't sit and have behind conversations and settle differences. And all the security and this production, they were all 51 show. I mean, you even have Ice-T's, the model from Power Cover, the infamous model from Power Cover, the model Kini on swimsuit. Ice-T had done everything, the technology level. She's on there as a co-host. And that's something. It's like, again, this is another celebrity to say it's pastor. She's pushing 60 or in her 60s. And it's like, okay, do I want to hear what you have to say about political issues? You were on cover. And Mono Kini, Ice-T, back in the 80s. Like, what type of knowledge can I possibly learn from you? I had a relationship 2 years ago from South Florida, back when I was working in Birmingham, Alabama, and she had no intelligent conversation to have the time about it. She had no intelligent conversation to offer. And whenever I would get to postulating, expanding my mind, she would shut that down. So that experience from one person who was a person who got their money off of exposing their body. I don't respect models, and it's to have I'm gonna invite models to have a political conversation. If I can figure it out at the time in my late 20s, how is Corey Holcomb not able to figure it out at this time in his early 60s? Like, let's be real. So I'm not, no Corey Holcomb anti-game. I truly believe this is a psyop. And I believe I put my evidence on the table enough. And I'm going to leave this stream back. So I'm sitting here so fast. I'm done. One.